They say love is patient, love is kind, but sometimes love is simply unstoppable. This is the story of two women who tried to fight their feelings, but in the end, couldn't help falling in love. It was a late afternoon when Madison first met Natalie at a friend's small gathering. Madison wasn't the type to open up easily. She always believed what people often say. Wise men say, "Only fools rush in," and Madison refused to be a fool. She had been hurt before, and her heart carried scars no one could see. But then there was Natalie. Natalie's laughter filled the room like music, warm and unguarded. She carried herself with a brightness that Madison hadn't seen in anyone for a long time. One smile from Natalie felt dangerous, like a risk Madison couldn't afford. "Hi, I'm Natalie," she said, extending her hand. Madison hesitated before shaking it, and in that brief touch, she felt something she couldn't name, something she wasn't ready to admit. Days turned into weeks. By coincidence, or maybe fate, Madison and Natalie kept running into each other. Coffee shops, bookstores, even in the quiet corners of the park. And each time Madison told herself, "Take it slow. Don't rush. Don't fall." But every glance Natalie gave her chipped away at those walls. One evening, they walked side by side along the riverside. The night was quiet, stars scattered above them. Natalie looked at Madison, her voice soft. "Do you ever feel like some things are meant to be?" Madison swallowed hard, her chest tightening. I don't know. I've always believed falling in love was a choice, something you protect yourself from." Natalie smiled gently, stepping closer. "And if it isn't? What if it's like the river flowing to the sea? Natural, unstoppable." Madison felt her heart tremble. She wanted to turn away to fight it. But when Natalie's hand brushed against hers, the truth was undeniable. Her thoughts whispered the words of the song she once heard. "Take my hand. Take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you." And finally, Madison let herself fall. Not rushed, not reckless, just real. A love she couldn't control. A love she no longer wanted to resist. Natalie leaned in, and in that quiet night, with the river flowing endlessly, their lips met. A kiss that said everything they couldn't. No more fears, no more running, just love. The kiss lingered longer than either of them expected. When they finally pulled away, Natalie was smiling, while Madison stood frozen, breathing heavily, her heart racing like it had just betrayed her carefully built defenses. "I'm sorry," Madison whispered, almost panicking. "I didn't mean to." Natalie shook her head and softly held Madison's hand. "Don't apologize. I wanted that too." Madison's eyes widened. "But it's dangerous. I don't want to hurt you." Natalie tilted her head, her eyes never leaving Madison's. "Why do you always think love has to hurt?" Madison looked away, swallowing her fears. "Because it always did before." Natalie stepped closer, closing the space between them. "Then maybe it's time for someone to prove you wrong." After that, Madison and Natalie started spending more time together. Madison found herself laughing more, her usual walls slowly breaking down. She didn't even notice how natural it became. Natalie waiting for her outside her office. Natalie sneaking silly text messages in the middle of the day. Natalie dragging her to try new food stalls even if Madison hated crowded streets. It was all so ordinary, and yet for Madison it felt extraordinary. One Saturday afternoon, they sat on the grass at the park, sharing a cup of ice cream. Natalie fed Madison a spoonful before eating one herself. "You know," Natalie said, "I used to think love was like fireworks. Big, loud, explosive. But with you," she paused, watching Madison carefully, "it feels like a song I don't want to stop listening to." Madison's chest tightened. "A song?" Natalie smiled. "Yeah, gentle, constant, familiar, like Can't Help Falling in Love." Madison looked down, her cheeks warm. She wanted to argue, to deny it, but the truth was, Natalie was right. This feeling was like a song on repeat, one that had already become part of her. But Madison was still scared, because the more she let herself fall, the more she feared losing everything if it ended. And yet, every time Natalie held her hand, every time Natalie's laughter wrapped around her, every time their eyes met, Madison knew she was already falling. No matter how hard she tried to fight it, she couldn't help it. She was in love. The next week, Madison found herself restless. She was smiling too much, checking her phone too often. People at work started noticing. Her colleague raised a brow. "Who's got you glowing these days, Madison?" Madison's cheeks flushed as she quickly looked away. "No one. Just busy." But deep down, she knew the truth. Natalie was becoming impossible to hide. That night, they went out for dinner. A small Italian place with warm lights and soft music playing in the background. Natalie leaned across the table, her chin resting on her hand as she studied Madison. "You're quieter than usual." Madison toyed with her fork. "I just don't know what we're doing." Natalie raised an eyebrow. "We're having pasta and wine." "You know that's not what I mean." Madison's voice was low, careful. "This us. I don't want to hurt you. I don't even know if I'm capable of being what you deserve." Natalie's expression softened, but her eyes held firm. "Madison, love isn't about being perfect. It's about being real, and you're the most real thing I've felt in a long time." Madison froze. Her throat tightened. Those words, it was everything she wanted and everything she was afraid of. Later that night, as they walked under the streetlights, Madison pulled her coat tighter. Natalie, on the other hand, looked light, almost glowing. "You know, you can keep pushing me away. You can keep pretending you're not falling for me. But your eyes..." She stepped closer, her hand brushing Madison's. "They always tell the truth." Madison's breath caught. For a second, she wanted to run. But when Natalie slipped her fingers into hers, something inside Madison gave in. She didn't let go. But just when things were beginning to feel safe, life had other plans. A few days later, Madison received a call from her mother. "Madison?" Her mother's voice was firm, almost cold. "I heard you've been spending time with someone." "A woman, is that true?" Madison's stomach dropped. She gripped the phone tighter. "Mom, you know what people will say," her mother continued sharply. "This isn't who you're supposed to be. I didn't raise you for this kind of life." Madison's chest ached. Her voice broke. "But what if this is who I am?" Her mother's silence on the other end felt heavier than any words. When Madison hung up, her hands were trembling. She didn't know how to face Natalie now. She didn't know if she was strong enough to fight this battle, because loving Natalie wasn't just about them anymore. It was about the world trying to pull them apart. Madison thought she was the lucky one. Every time Natalie laughed at her jokes, every time those soft hazel eyes lingered too long, Madison swore she felt the world tilt. She didn't even realize when friendship blurred into something more. Late-night drives, coffee dates that lasted until dawn, the way Natalie would reach for her hand under the table as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Madison was falling, helplessly, recklessly, and Natalie let her. "Do you ever think about us?" Madison whispered one night, her heart pounding, her lips inches away from Natalie's. Natalie smiled faintly, brushing a finger over Madison's cheek. "All the time." The words were enough to make Madison's heart race, to convince her that maybe, just maybe, this was real. But what Madison didn't know was that Natalie was walking on two paths at once, because when she wasn't with Madison, Natalie was with him. The boyfriend who posted pictures of them together. The boyfriend who thought he was her world. The boyfriend Madison had no idea existed. Natalie told herself she could handle it. That Madison didn't need to know. That she wasn't really lying, just hiding. But every time Madison looked at her with so much trust, so much raw hope in her eyes, Natalie's chest tightened with guilt. She was the storm that Madison didn't see coming, and soon the truth would break her. It was a Saturday afternoon when Madison noticed it for the first time. They were at Natalie's apartment, curled up on the couch, a half-eaten pizza on the coffee table, a movie playing in the background. Madison leaned her head on Natalie's shoulder, feeling warm, safe, and impossibly happy, until Natalie's phone buzzed. She reached for it too quickly, too defensive. Madison caught a glimpse of the screen. Just a flash. A contact name, Ethan. Her chest tightened. "Ethan?" she asked, keeping her voice light, though her heart was pounding. Natalie froze, then laughed it off too quickly. "Oh, just my cousin. He worries too much." Madison nodded slowly. She wanted to believe her. She chose to believe her, because believing meant she could stay in this bubble a little longer. But later that night, when Natalie went to the bathroom, the phone buzzed again. Madison's eyes betrayed her, sliding to the screen. "Miss you already, baby." Madison's throat went dry. She set the phone back exactly where it was, her hands trembling. And when Natalie came back, smiling as if nothing had happened, Madison forced herself to smile too. But something inside her had already cracked. The truth unraveled faster than Madison expected. One evening, she followed her gut and walked into the cafe Natalie said she was working late in. And there she was, Natalie, her Natalie, holding hands with Ethan across the table, laughing the same way she laughed with Madison. The same softness, the same warmth, the same look in her eyes that Madison thought was only hers. Madison's breath caught. She felt her knees weaken. "Natalie," she whispered, her voice breaking. Natalie's head snapped up, panic spreading across her face. Ethan turned confused. "Madison, I can explain," Natalie stammered, standing up, reaching out. But Madison stepped back, tears already falling. "Explain what?" Madison choked. "That I was never the only one. That everything, the promises, the touches, the I love yous you were saying to him too, Natalie's eyes glistened, guilt painting every inch of her face. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. I couldn't choose. I didn't want to lose either of you, but it was too late." Madison shook her head, her heart shattering with every breath. "You already lost us both." And with that, she walked away, leaving Natalie standing in the middle of the cafe, torn between two worlds that had just collapsed. Ethan pushed back his chair, his jaw tight. "You lied to me too, Natalie. Don't ever call me again." Natalie was left alone, staring at the empty seats where the two people she loved once sat. And for the first time, she realized, in trying to keep both, she ended up with nothing. Both gone, both broken, both forever lost. And sometimes, love isn't enough. No matter how strong the feelings are, once trust is broken, nothing will ever be the same. Natalie thought she could keep two hearts beating for her. But in the end, she lost them both. Because love is never meant to be shared like a secret. It's meant to be cherished, with only one. This was not a story of winning, but of losing everything. A reminder, when you play with hearts, you never truly win.